Hello everyone and welcome back to Class Creative. This lesson is all about getting to grips with the very versatile art medium of chalk pastels. We will walk through 12 easy but essential to know chalk pastel techniques and how they can be used to create awesome effects guaranteed to improve your artworks. This easy tutorial can be used by both art students and teachers as an introduction and warm-up practice before launching into creating a chalk pastel art piece. In my next video, I'll be taking an influence from the amazing landscape artist Tracy Turner to create one of her images using some of these techniques we will practice in this video. Materials you'll need. In this tutorial, I'm using the brand Specialist Crafts Spectrum Soft Pastel Student Quality Pack. The main difference between soft and hard chalk pastel is that the hard pastels are more compressed, making them a better fit for when working on finer close-up detail. The paper I'm working with is for pastel and charcoal use. This specific one is an A3 pad called Arches de Zan paper and is 130 gm in thickness. However, if you don't have that, you can use watercolour paper. It's a good fit for chalk pastel if you want that instead. You will also need a long ruler and pencil or pen to set up the technique grid. To begin, we first need to set up a grid of squares of a similar size. Here I have used 2 A4 papers and split the page up using a ruler and pencil. Students, please pause the video here to draw out the grid to make 6 squares on each of the A4 papers. To do that, draw one line down the center of the A4 paper in portrait position and then another 2 lines to split the page into thirds. Technique 1 is blending. The blending technique simply requires the application of 2 or more colours that merge into one another. So you can directly apply the pastel colour to the paper and blend using your finger, or you could use a different tool such as a Q-tip or a piece of cloth. There are different ways to do this as well. You could even shave the side of the pastel and push the powder into it, or just apply it directly. The second technique is called mixed colour or broken colour. It's simply just a range of short marks and then within those gaps you add several other colours. Here I'm just using 2 different colours, and this is specifically good for things such as grass, where you don't just have one tone or one colour, and you can really also visually blend colours in using this technique. The third technique I'm doing after this is called pointillism. Pointillism is a series of little dots that can be manipulated in colour to show that there is darkness or lightness depending on the value you select, and it's a very nice way to stylize your artwork. For technique 4, I'm going to go in with some hatching, which is just a range of diagonal lines. These diagonal lines can be used to darken an area when you are creating an image, and you can also use cross hatching, which is where your lines cross over to make even darker areas. Very good for 3D shading. Technique 5, twisting. So to twist the pastel, just roll it from the sharpest point to the fattest point. Technique 6, dusting. This one is a really fun one if you wanted to create things such as stars or a galaxy, something like that. And if you want to make sure that the powder doesn't escape the paper, you can actually roll it and press it into the paper. Here I used a glass and a piece of trace paper. Now this page is full, so I'm going to go over to next paper. Here I'm doing a simple side stroke using the widest part of the pastel, and you can also apply darker areas just by the amount of pressure. Technique 8 is feathering, whereby every stroke that you create is to the same angle. So here I'm creating a little image of a tree in a field with a sky behind it, and it gives a really lovely sort of painting sort of finish. If you want to again make your colours lighter, you can also apply some white to it, or the opposite, if you want to make the value darker, go with some darkness with brown or black. Technique 9 is a side stroke, but I'm actually layering it, so it's a layered side stroke of using different colours to create this type of effect. Technique 10 is free drawing, and here I'm just drawing some simple grasses with some flowers. You can draw anything you like, and I'm just using the sharpest point of the pastel to get thinner lines where I want them. Technique 11 is rolling, and this is really more abstract mark making. It depends on the shape of pastel as well. These specific ones are rectangular or cuboid shapes, and so they would create a different effect to if you had a cylindrical, but they're very it's a nice way to make marks. The last technique is called scumbling, and this technique is sort of like a controlled scribble, which could be quite good if you were doing trees or bushes. Finally, here you can see an overview of the 12 different chalk pastel techniques here all together. If you wish, you could pause the video to reflect on which you like the best and maybe which ones would work best in your next chalk pastel creation. To fix a chalk pastel picture, there are many sprays available in the art supply shops. However, these can be expensive, and if you want to save yourself money, I recommend using an affordable hairspray which will fix the pastel in place beautifully. You'll want to leave at least a 10 or 20 centimeter gap between the surface of the paper and your spray. This will ensure that you don't get any dark marks of this spray onto your artwork. Lastly, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you found this video useful, keep a lookout for my next one, where we'll be using a range of these techniques to create a chalk pastel landscape by the brilliant artist Tracy Turner.